Hey everyone, welcome to the Heroes Mask podcast, episode number 1. Uh, I'm Leemus. This is my co-host DigitalDachi, and today we are going to be talking about our first topic, which is going to be Pokemon. Um, Pretty popular. I think most of you probably, even if you're not super familiar with it, know of the games, the movies. It's not really a
Cards.
franchise. Cards.
Would you say it's not a franchise? I'm pretty sure Pokemon itself is a franchise.
Franchise, is that what you would call it? I
Yeah,
don't know what I would call it, but
I don't know where you learned your.
Pokemon franchise fandom, I don't know, but Pokemon as a company, most people have heard of it in the world.
I mean, it's literally
Uh,
called a Pokemon company,
there you go.
so that makes it a
From
franchise.
and yeah, that's fair. There you go. We've established that it is a franchise, so most of you know of the Pokemon franchise. Um, Now, so the a little bit of backstory is that's I promise I had all my notes here. Okay, the franchise. Hey, right there it says on Wikipedia it calls it a franchise. If I would have scrolled up on my notes I was looking at here, it says the franchise. Live you learn. Scroll up, kids. That's the lesson here. The franchise was created by Satoshi Tajiri. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. In 1995, and is centered on fictional creatures called Pokemon, which humans, known as Pokemon trainers, catch and train to battle each other for sport. Games, shows, and other works within the franchise, there's franchise again, there's that word again, are set in the Pokemon universe. The English slogan for the franchise is "Gotta catch 'em all." Most people know that as well. So, a little bit more diving into it. So, the Japanese versions, which was Pocket Monsters Red and Green, the release date for that in Japan was February 27th, 1996. That was followed by Pocket Monsters Blue in October 15th of 96. Now, over here in the US, for us, when we was kids, Pokemon Red and Blue were the first two to be ported over to the US and came out September 28th, 1998. Um, so branching off of that, I want to get into a little bit of just kind of talking about our memories and our experiences with Pokemon. So I know I would have been, it's September 28th, 1998. I would have been 7. Yeah, I would have been 7 at that time. Um,
You'd been 6.
I've been 7. September. This be after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
a
wait
June
about.
baby.
Yeah, I was
So
January.
so
So
we've
here's a
both been
question:
7.
which one did
Yeah.
you start with? Which game?
So here's the thing. I'm trying to think how to answer that question because I received 2 versions at the same time.
Well, which one
So
did you play first?
the
Let's go
first
there.
one I played was Red. I will say
My
Red is.
first was Blue.
Do you remember if you actually got to play it 98 or if it wasn't until
It was a
a
year
little
to
bit
come
later?
out. Yeah, I
Okay,
had the
see,
big brick
mine
Game Boy.
was 99.
I had the big brick Game Boy, the one that, like, if you didn't carry extra double A's, you weren't playing it all day because I was terrible
Yeah.
at school. Staying in school, kids. I was awful at school. I played video games the whole time. I never,
Did
ever
you have
did anything else than play that and get in trouble for having it out.
unrelated? Did you have? I was looking at these the other day. We was going down memory lane talking about this. The little like thing that you click on the back and it flips over the screen had the magnifying glass and
Yes,
the light.
yes. I had
Yeah,
almost every Game Boy accessory that existed. I was one
that
of
was
the
the only one
only
I got.
kids in school that had a link cable. So I
Yeah, I
was,
didn't.
I was
Never
like,
did it.
I was an awful person. I monopolized my link cable, and I was like, if you want to use this, you got to get me something to drink. So I was terrible. I
Hey,
bargained with
look.
it.
Hey, look. You know what? If they that whole this whole franchise, as you know, we can discuss and we'll know. Um, it made a living off of monopolizing and trust me, I'm sure I know for a fact you was not the first or last child to use Pokemon to try to get extras out of it. Pokemon cards, should we go into that whole topic, there were kids fighting other kids, there was robbery going on. everybody had that one card they wanted, and they were willing to do a lot for it, or do a lot to give it away, or get a lot in return. That's for sure.
My biggest thing about the cards, going off of what you just said, was there was a guy that used to sell packs with guaranteed Charizards in it. And kids were eating that up left and right. They're like, oh, I'm going to get a Charizard because I bought this pack of cards off this guy for $7. No, you're not going to get that guaranteed Charizard. It's not going to happen. But everybody was just after that one card, which is now God knows how much on eBay or any other collectible site. But it was ridiculous. Like, there was no reason for people, like, it was just scamming stuff back then. And people were like, kids are, no, they weren't even our age. They were like middle school, high school kids. We're just using the younger kids to get all the money they needed to buy their activities, I guess we'll say, for our area.
Yeah, that, I remember growing up. I remember seeing on the news one time. I don't remember exactly how old I was. I mean, this would have been a little later, but I remember the first time I'd heard that, like, a kid had been stabbed over a Pokemon card on, like, a school bus. And at that time, like, I remember my parents was just, they were like, wait, what? This Pokemon's called, what's going on here? Kids are getting stabbed over this. Do you have these? Do you play this? And I was just like, yeah, you guys bought it for me. And they're like, is kids at your school like this? And I was like, no, not at all. That's a freak accident, one in a million accident. There's no way that would ever happen here. Don't take away my Pokemon.
I mean, we didn't have a whole lot where we grew up, so
yeah, that's true. We
I
were
think that's
fortunate
why
in that.
I think that's why we're such nerds, because that was like the only thing we could do. Which, in hindsight, we could have been out in the woods for free, but instead we wanted video games, which costed money. But we did chores. True. We did chores, lots of chores.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I was looking up doing some more research on stuff.
You would think you would do the research before we start.
Oh, I did, but you think of things and you just run with it. But that's for you guys. I'm going.
This for the people.
For the people, by the people. So yeah, my first memory was actually in '99 with Pokemon. Was the first time I remember playing it. Subject for another time. But my first mom died around the time that I was 8, which would have been, again, 99, December of 99. And it was the Christmas after she passed was when I first got, it was one of my aunts and uncles had gotten me Pokemon Red and Yellow. I got the red version and yellow version. Yep, because in Pokemon Yellow came out in the US in September 12th of 1998. So it came out actually before Pokemon Red and Blue. I did not know that. It came out a whole week before. Interesting.
Well, they released a special edition Game Boy with it, if I remember. Maybe one of the first Game Boy colors. Maybe not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
One of the first special edition types, anyway.
True. I got Yellow and Red first, and I got them that Christmas. And I remember I didn't really know what it was. I hadn't heard much about it. But, I had a Game Boy, the original Game Boy, like I said, those old brick. Mine was like this just blocky, chunky thing. And I remember, because, again, we was living with my grandparents at the time. And when I got it, I didn't know what it was, but I had the red version and yellow version. And I picked the red version because red's my favorite color. And also it has a giant fire dragon on the front. So, of course, I was going to pick that one first over a yellow mouse. And I booted it up, and I remember sitting in the floor of the room where me and my younger brother stayed. We shared a room and had twin beds and stuff at my grandparents' house. And I remember sitting in the floor that Christmas night and booting it up on my Game Boy and playing it. And like from then on, it's just down here. Here we are. From then on, it leads to this, 20 some years later, 25, 26 years later.
Well, interestingly enough, me and you have never played Pokemon together. We've known each other for like 23 years and have never, ever played a Pokemon game together.
Have we? Well, here's my question. Did we? And I guess probably not, because it would have been.
We were always Star Wars junkies when me and you met.
And Digimon.
Like Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z was our big thing. Because I was going to say, the biggest game that I would have seen that we could have played would have been Stadium, but by the time we started hanging out, becoming friends, was GameCube era. We did all GameCube, and the only Pokemon games for GameCube they had was Coliseum, which didn't have much multiplayer.
Which the guy down the road that we hung out with, he had Coliseum and Gale of Darkness and all that.
Yeah,
but we always played
multiplayer.
Animal Crossing, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which is the best Sonic game. Fight me if you want. The Chow system was great.
Much similar to Pokemon in a weird
A lot
way.
of Star Wars. Got in trouble a lot for Star Wars because we'd be loud. But we were fighting, man. We had to fight for the Jedi.
You had to.
Like we got. Oh, that was when we first started dabbling in our paranormal experiences, but we'll go into that at some other juncture.
That'll be a full podcast. That'll be a fun podcast talking about those.
You say fun, I've had some stuff, man, some stuff.
Are you saying that you and I remember Budapest very differently?
God. You know I know where you live, right?
I know.
But you don't know where I live, so...
Not anymore. That's the weird thing. So bringing it all back around full circle to Pokemon. I don't know how it's actually full circle, but
it's more like a 180. But
a Pokeball is a circle or a sphere or whatever you call it. A cylinder. Well, it's not a cylinder at all. I don't know why I went there with it.
I don't know. I guess the older ones from the Selby movie that a young Sam had, wasn't his like a cylinder type kind of?
I think so. There's so many different Pokeballs, and we will get into that discussion later. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and want to talk about some of the new games. So we are going to talk about a little bit of the new games, which is they did just announce, like I said, with the 25th anniversary, they actually announced technically 3 new games. One of them was announced a little while back, but
2 remakes and 2 new games.
Yeah. So the original Pokemon Snap, they've just announced the new one is coming out April 30th.
I believe so.
April 30th. Yep, 2021. But the original was first released for North America, which would have been us, would be July 26, 1999. I didn't know it came out that long ago, honestly. I thought it was a little bit later. But yeah, for Nintendo 64, a first-person simulation video game with rail shooter style gameplay mechanics. I'd never even heard of that rail shooter style gameplay mechanic.
That's like if you go to an arcade and you play like one of the circus things, like where the killer clowns happen. That's a rail shooter. You're set on a path that you can't stop. You have no control over.
Look around that path, but you're still moving on that.
You're always moving. You have no control over your... Like, you could slow down in Pokemon Snap. I will say that.
Fun fact is, I think, actually have a lot more experience with Pokemon Snap. I never actually owned Pokemon Snap. The original, I played it. I'd rented it from Blockbuster. That shows you my age there. If all this other stuff didn't already give away our age. I got to play it a couple times when we rented it from Blockbuster, but I never owned it, and so I never played it quite as heavy and in detail. But I know you said that you was real big on the original.
I played it a lot. I don't think me and my dad played it very much because he was more into Pokemon Puzzle, which I'll get into that. That's something we didn't write down, but I will get into that one.
Yeah.
But Pokemon Snap was, for whatever reason, it had such a high replay value. I think that's where I got my obsession with wanting to get the best possible outcome happen, because what we would do, me and my little brother, who is 4 years younger than me, yours is only 3 younger than you, I think. Yeah. Which me and him are not very well. Me and my family split, but that's whatever. Me and him would play, and we would try to figure out all the little things, because back then you either got a walkthrough guide, which was they weren't in game informal. What was the actual thing?
Nintendo Power, I guess, for the
Well,
Pokemon.
Nintendo Power had some, but what were the books back in the day?
I know what you're talking about. You keep going.
All right, anyway.
Google that.
There was no hints other than what the game told you. It was, you would go in, and you wouldn't know that this Pikachu, if you hit it with a Pester Ball, is going to start doing thunder, or if you do Maybe it was the flute that did that. It's been a very long time since I played it, but you just had to unlock these tools and then go back and replay the levels to get the most points out of each pose they would do, and it became a very obsessive thing because we didn't have internet back in the day. Like, we did, but it was nothing that you could use, I guess. It was more for research purposes. What we would do is we would just sit and play it and play it and play it until we got tired of playing, and that wouldn't ever happen hardly.
Prima. Sorry to interject. The Prima's official strategy guides.
Why couldn't I think of strategy guides? Wow.
Yeah, it was just straight up strategy guides, but Prima was like the main brand. It had the red strip at the top.
Yeah. But it was very. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna let you know, you can buy the Pokemon Snap, the original Pokemon Snap Prima strategy guide, official strategy guide, on abebooks.com for $10.
No, that's not
Shipping
bad at all.
$2, so $12. You can get a little slice of your past, just in time for the new one.
Heard it here first, folks. But there wasn't like the 150 original Pokemon in it. You weren't seeing every form, but some of them did evolve, and it was neat to find out the ways they did evolve. Now, Charmander did go to Charmeleon and then to Charizard, but you had to do this sequence of events to get it to happen. I don't know if anybody's ever actually going to play it since the new one's about to come out, so I won't spoil it, but you can get a Gyarados to happen. But you gotta really make a Mankey mad. There's your tip for that. But you would start out with just an apple you could throw to lure certain Pokemons out of like grass or off of surfboards to get them to where you could actually take a picture of them, because if they weren't in the perfect spot, then it would get you like 20 points. And then you'd be like, well, what do I have to do to get that better? Because the game helps you maximize your points if you follow what they give you. But it's going to take you hours to get there because you've got to beat certain parts of the game to unlock other parts.
So it's kind of a reward level system kind of thing. I did want to touch on earlier. You did say it doesn't feature all of them. It does say the game features 63 out of the original 151.
So just
a bad trade-off. Yeah.
It wasn't. It had most of the fan favorites. I'm not a Mankey fan, but it has Mankeys in it. You didn't see any other forms of the original starters than Charmanders, I don't believe.
Extra points were awarded for capturing a special pose or Pokemon, such as a surfing Pikachu.
Yeah, you can. I'll touch on that. In the first level, you look over and there's a Pikachu running beside the cart. And there's a surfboard up next to it. But if you don't throw an apple to lead him to the surfboard, then he won't go towards it. It was little things like that, like you had to figure out. And I didn't have a strategy guide, and I didn't have the internet. Or I had the internet, but it wasn't to a point where it was easy enough to get on, because my sister was always on the phone. Figure. But we didn't have no way to really look up what we were doing, so we just figured out all this stuff on our own, which, in hindsight of the way the world is now, there's going to be people the day after this game launches like, here's how you get this. And it's just going to ruin it for some people. Like, I try my best anymore when I play a game not to jump into any part of what's going on the internet, because I want to learn everything organically unless I'm absolutely beating my head against the wall.
Yeah, depending on the game, I'm the exact opposite now, because again, we did grow up that way, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm the exact opposite now. So now, because it is right here, I will not struggle. Games in the past, I struggled through because, like you, we didn't have the access to the walkthroughs and answers that we do now. So you did just have to redo a level over and over again. Now, between work and life and everything, I ain't got the time. Like, the way I look at it, I'm justifying it for myself. But honestly, I respect the fact that you're willing to earn it the hard way. I've recently, because later this year is the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil, which again we'll get into when it gets closer to that time. We'll do a podcast on that. But I recently started playing the Resident Evil 2 remake and playing Resident Evil 7 because I hadn't got to beat either one of those yet. And yeah, for those, if I get to one of those puzzles, because all about them puzzles and all about you got people chasing you around the house and you don't know if they're legit dead or if you got to be looking out for them around the corner. And so I will straight up walk through that and I'll read like the next 2 levels to make sure I don't miss anything. I know where all the herbs are, where all the ammo is. And I just walk through picking it up, kill what needs to be killed, move on. And then when I get to my next save point, I'll look at the next 2 pages of the walkthrough. But I mean, because for me, I play a lot for story and for the kind of experience on that. And now I don't do that with every game. Like, again, I've been playing the Avengers game and I didn't use a walkthrough once for it, but it's also mostly smash 'em, run and smash type thing.
I was gonna say, I've heard it's very streamlined into your next story areas.
Yeah. So, like, but that's the thing with something like Resident Evil, I have been pretty bad at using walkthroughs. And at first, it did start out where it was only when I got really stuck. But then when I realized how easy it was, once I was stuck to just look it up, I'm like, well, I'll just use it all the time. But again, I'm in that boat where I'm like, well, yeah, I've already did my time struggling. I did my time. I waited 12 years in Azkaban for this. So now that I have access to these walkthroughs, I'm taking advantage of it. But I also respect the thought process of earning it legitimately, earning it the old fashioned way. Uh, so I get that. And I do that with some games, but I also understand for anyone out there like me who is like, nah, I ain't got time. I ain't got time to redo the same level 4 times over because I missed a clue.
Well, that'll be the one fun thing about the Pokemon Snaps. It doesn't matter. Like you can run that same level 5 times, but in them 5 times, there's guaranteed to be at least one thing you had to do 2 to 3 times before you could get to that. So that part I enjoy. Replayability is a big thing for me anymore. Replayability is huge right now. I don't know what it is lately. Like, I don't want to play a game just once, go through it. And I've been horrible for single-player games lately. Sorry. I really enjoy a lot of the story, but I'll just read the story that happens more so than play them. I'm a big, like, multiplayer person these days. But I think that goes back to the fact that my place of employment, which we will leave out of it, I work really crazy dumb hours, like sometimes work 12 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock the next morning. So, or 12 o'clock in the evening until 4 o'clock the next morning. Like, I've had that happen a couple of times, but that's whatever. I enjoy what I do. I love to work hard, and that might stem to that part of I like to feel the accomplishment of finding these things out on my own.
Yeah, that's fair.
But other than that, Pokemon Snap will, I'm hoping, have more Pokemon because we're at how many Pokemon now? I think 800 at least.
800.
867? I know it's not right.
Let me get some of the stats. Since you're bringing that up, I will get some of the stats to the new Pokemon Snap. I actually have some information on that one. So it is an upcoming first-person simulation video game with rail shooter-style gameplay mechanics. So it's still keeping that. Developed by Bandai Namco, planned to be published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for the Nintendo Switch. Players travel using an on-rails hovercraft and research Pokemon by photographing them. It is a sequel to the 1999 Pokemon Snap. Again, we're looking at an April 30th, 2021 release date. Let me see if it says anything.
What date is April 21st or 31st this year? Like, what day of the week?
30th is on a...
Guess I could have just looked at my phone.
A Friday. It's Friday, April 30th when it comes out. It comes out on Friday, which is... I don't know, did most games come out on Fridays?
A lot of, like, MMO games come out on Tuesdays, but that's because their server resets. Pokemon doesn't have servers, really, though.
This game is going to feature over 200 different Pokemon. So the first one had 63. This one will include 200.
Is it at least 200 or is it 200 on the dot?
It says the game features over 200 Pokemon.
Okay.
So it could be more, but
it probably will be more then.
At least, yeah. And the good thing about Switch, which again we didn't have back in the day, now that there is something to be said about the contrast between downloadable content, DLC, and expansions. Just like with Pokemon Sword and Shield, this year was the first time I think that we had ever seen that done, or last year. I forget, we're in a new year now. Last year was the first time we'd ever seen in a Pokemon game Sword and Shield actually came out with 2 DLC expansions, the Crown Tundra and the Isle of Armor, as add-ons to the original Sword and Shield games. Back in our day with Pokemon Snap or even the Pokemon Game Boy versions, the game you got was the game you got. If you didn't get extra content, you just got another game. So,
or you came up with your own challenges. I know people that before Nuzlocke challenges were a thing, they would already play that way. I had a buddy, if his Pokemon died, he released it and he acted like it was dead forever. So people do that, and it's just a wild way to play. And shinies weren't a thing back for us before.
Yeah, true. That's the thing. Because I remember when I first heard about that, I did not know what people were saying. Yeah.
Sapphire and Emerald, did that have shinies in it? I don't remember when shinies came out. I know it wasn't Gold and Silver, I don't think.
No, I don't think they're that.
Because Red Gyarados was Sapphire. Right? Or am I wrong?
No.
It was Gold, wasn't it?
Golden then was the first one with the Red Gyarados, yeah.
It was considered a shiny, but
true.
It gave it to you if you wanted it.
Yeah, you didn't catch them naturally like in the wild, like the way you would now, the randomness. It was through a story progression that you could catch the Red Gyarados. Got first edition have shiny Pokemon. See, that's where Generation 2's Gold, Silver, and Platinum. It wasn't Gold, Silver, and Crystal. They're wrong on that. But finding a shiny Pokemon in the Johto region wasn't easy. So I guess it's saying that they were in Generation 2's Pokemon Gold and Silver. I did not know that. Again, I did know it does say encounter a Red Gyarados in the Lake of Rage. Must battle and attempt to capture. I didn't know. Fans speculate shiny Pokemon were invented as a way to make Gyarados stand out against the lake and be more noticeable to players, as the old pixel graphics of Gold and Silver would have made finding a blue Gyarados difficult in the lake's murky waters. While there's no evidence from developers to back the theory, it gives players an interesting potential perspective on why the most notable quality of a shining Pokemon is their alternate coloration compared to the other Pokemon of their species. So that's interesting.
So second generation did have them.
That's what it's saying. Pokemon series added shiny Pokemon in Generation 2.
I was always told they were like a accidental code happened and it altered the color of one, but
missing no kind of thing. Yeah,
I've gotten missing no on Pixelmon before. Weird.
So yeah, so to keep moving from there, to keep the train rolling, the ball rolling, Pokeball rolling. The other games they did announce, as soon as I can find my page on here, is they did announce a remakes for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl, which is going to be just a kind of facelifted remake of the Diamond and Pearl games from the Nintendo DS that originally came out in 2006. Now, these new ones are looking to release later this year. They've not given an exact release date. They just said late in 2021. Now, I never played Diamond and Pearl.
Same. I've never touched anything past. I didn't play Fire Red or Leaf Green, so I think anything before Fire Red and Leaf Green I played. Anything past I hadn't.
Yeah.
Well, I played X and Y, and that was one of my favorite Pokemon games from the last little bit. From what I've been told, it was one that had a great story. They say Black and White and Black and White 2 had a good story, but the battle mechanics were slow, or I don't know. I won't talk on their behalf because I've never played them, but I enjoyed X and Y, and I've enjoyed Let's Go Pikachu because it was a remake of the first two,
Yeah, it was really good.
or first three, I guess, because there's blue, red, green,
and
yellow, whatever. The original Gen 1, it was a remake in a different way. I actually went and got the Switch and everything because I wanted it.
Nice. It was one of the first games we played on Switch, was that, and then Sword and Shield, and then Mario Kart. That's a whole other topic there. Yeah, so I can't say a whole lot about Diamond and Pearl other than I am excited to play it since I've not gotten to play them before. And then also in early 2022, they're looking to launch a Pokemon Legends Arceus, however you pronounce it.
I think it's Arceus.
And so in this one, it's going to be the first ever open world Pokemon game. It says the fun of exploring while catching Pokemon and filling in a Pokédex has always been a core part of the Pokemon video game series. Pokemon Legends Arceus was developed with the desire to deliver an experience infused with new action and RPG elements. As trainers explore the natural expanses, they'll encounter Pokemon that call these grand vistas home. So in this, instead of your normal battle and catch, I guess to catch them, it says players can study the Pokemon's behaviors, sneak up to them, then throw Pokeballs. You can also battle the wild Pokemon with your ally Pokemon. Okay, so by throwing the Pokeball, holding their ally Pokemon near a wild Pokemon, players will seamlessly enter battle. So it kind of sounds a lot like that it'll be similar to Pixelmon. Anybody that's played the Pixelmon Minecraft mod, it kind of sounds similar to that.
That's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah.
They did a really good job from the trailer that I seen when the Pokeball
was really good.
when the Pokeball hits the Pokemon, they like immediately go in. It's not delayed or any kind of weird thing. I know they'll polish it up between now and release, but it looks really good. I'm pretty excited for it. The remakes, I've never played them, so I'm kind of excited to play them. I hope they don't let me down. Dialga looks awesome. Pokey is a big bird-looking thing.
I ain't seen those.
That's the legendaries, and it's Pokey and Dialga.
Yeah.
But
I do know it's interesting for the Arceus. They're actually bringing three new. What I kind of like is they're bringing three different starter Pokemons from different generations. So it's going to take place in the Sinnoh region, which is from Diamond and Pearl, but it's going to be set like in the past from the Diamond and Pearl games. And your starter Pokemon to choose from in Pokemon Legends Arceus is a Rowlet, which actually first appeared in Pokemon Sun and Moon, one of the starters. Cyndaquil, who's actually from the Johto region and the Gold and Silver, and Oshawott, who is the Unova region. I think
that's Black and White and Black and White 2, I believe.
So that is your three starters. They're pulling from different regions, and I kind of like that. I like that you're mixing it up now.
The thing about it on Twitter I seen was a picture of a Cyndaquil that had went through from Cyndaquil to Quilava, but when it went to turn into Typhlosion, it's got a completely different final form now. It isn't with the Typhlosion we know. It looks like a fighting fire type instead of a pure fire. So if they have a different evolution line based off the fact they're in Sinnoh, that's going to be pretty big. That'll mean a couple of new, maybe a couple 20, 30 maybe new types of Pokemon evolving.
Well, we've seen this done, which really it started with Sun and Moon, where they did Alola forms of previous Pokemon, and then even in Sword and Shield, they've done the Galar region forms, where, like, I think in Sun and Moon, you had a Vulpix and Ninetales, but they were Ice type.
Sandshrew was also Ice type as well.
Type. And then you had a Meowth that was like a Dark type.
Yep.
And in Sword and Shield, Meowth turns into a Steel type.
Called Berserker.
Berserker, yeah. So we've kind of got to see some of that before, so I would love to see more Pokemon get like different regional tops. So that would be a lot of fun. I'm excited for all of these. I'm definitely going to be checking them all out. That'll be something we can talk about in future episodes. Like I said, Pokemon Snap's coming pretty soon.
I will definitely. I'll probably be streaming Pokemon Snap tonight. It comes out, but we'll see.
Awesome. Definitely be looking for that. So yeah, so pretty excited for those. So the next thing that I do have here for us is something a little fun. We're coming to near a little bit of a close here, but before we close out this podcast, I have come up with some questions, some questions that we've taken from some people that wanted to know, and kind of like little survey questions, which will help. This kind of ties into some of our memories and our personal experiences with Pokemon that we was talking about before. So I've actually got a list of 12 questions. And we'll each go through and answer those, give a little bit of a brief answer on that, talk about it. And yeah, so the first one I'll ask you first, and then I'll give mine. Is the obvious and probably the biggest question everybody asked is, what is your favorite Pokemon? Said with over however many hundreds, which, like I said, me and you both had kind of similar tracks there, where I played all the way up to Ruby and Sapphire, and then after
I think Ruby and Sapphire was my last stint.
It was my last stint, and then I didn't play
Sun and Moon
till X and Y, then Sun and Moon, and Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I played X and Y, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield. But
before that,
my favorite regular Pokemon, it'd probably come out of Gen 1. I really like Blastoise. I don't know, I like water and ice. So Blastoise would be one of my favorite starter finisher evolutions, but I was really partial to Charmander because I watched the Pokemon episode where he was just so sad and pitiful, and back when I had a heart more so.
Yeah.
It was really sad, so I really fell in love with Charmander, but I'm a ghost type freak, so I like Gengar a lot, so I'll probably go with Gengar.
Okay. Interesting. That's similar to mine. My actual all-time favorite is Haunter. I actually like Haunter a little bit better than Gengar. Again, it's interesting. Because again, it's one of those. There's very few Pokemon that I would ever like keep from evolving whenever it gets to that level that I would actually stop the evolution. Haunter's probably one of the only ones I know of that I would want to keep as a Haunter. And I do agree with, when I was younger, my favorite was Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, those three. And I know it's kind of like a cliche type thing, but I'm like you. Between that episode, Red version was my first version. Charmander was my first starter I started out with. I was a big Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard fan. I was big into dragons when I was a kid. I used to have a whole room of nothing but decor of dragon stuff. And so I was real big into that. But yeah, for some reason, after I got older, there for a short while, I was a big Sandslash fan. I don't know why, but I got real heavy into Sandslash. I was a big Totodile fan from the Johto region.
I do like Totodile a lot. Like, if we ever, we could sit down maybe sometime later on and choose our favorite starters. Because if I had to go starter, I'd definitely go Squirtle, probably, because I love Blastoise. Turtles are one of my favorite animals. But you didn't know that one, since you didn't even know my birthday a few weeks ago. Which, we'll fight on that one at some point. But I really enjoy Squirtle because Wartortle's awesome. They had the Squirtle Squad on the show, which was hilarious.
Glasses, yeah.
And
always the glasses out.
I don't know. Gengar overall for Gen 1, a Blastoise as a starter for sure, or starter finished evolution.
And that's where mine would be similar, but so I would say Charizard for my starter. Especially Gen 1 starter, and then Haunter. My favorite thing is the way he laughs. As weird as it sounds, I just love when he does a haunt. It's just weird. I mean, they say their names, but some of them there's so much more personality when they say their name.
At least in the freaking shows they are, because not only recently Pikachu's got to where he has his own name in the games, but before that, he didn't.
That's true. So yeah, so we're gonna spawn right from that, and again, it may be a pretty similar answer. But our favorite generation or games, if you had any particular of the games that we played that was your favorites, or a generation that was your favorite.
Gen 1 because it was what I started with. Like I'll come back to that every time probably. My actual favorite Pokemon game, it's cliche because my dad's not with us anymore, but me and him would play Pokemon puzzle before I would go to school every morning. We finally got to the end on the hardest difficulty where you had to fight Mewtwo, and none of us could beat him, and I would just sit up at night and play it, and then he'd make me go to sleep. I'd wake up in the morning to play it for a little bit, and I finally beat Mewtwo, and I can remember grabbing my backpack, running out to the bus, like, it was 3 minutes before the bus was supposed to be there. I beat him. I run through the house like a kid in a candy store, just jumping up and down. This hyper fat little short kid, because I was really short when I was little. Like, you had always been taller than me. There's pictures of us when we were younger, and you're always like super tall. You're like this much farther ahead of me than I was ever. But I remember jumping up and down playing that, and when I beat Mewtwo, I went to school and talked about it all day. Like, it was the only time I was like super proud of myself, because nobody else out in a house of 5 could do it. I know that makes it sound like my mom wasn't around, but my mom and dad passed similarly at the same time. Yeah. But other than that, we all played that game.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, sister, brother. We would sit and play it. And the only other game we ever played like that, and this is not a video game at all, but we would play Rummy. That was it. That was like our family activities.
Nice.
But playing Pokemon Puzzle was like Tetris, but reverse. And you had blocks you could drop on other people, and they had to beat them. I don't know. It was just really fun.
It was good. That was for 64, right? Like, it was another one on 64.
Yeah, that was another specialty on 64.
So good. I did love that one. That was another one that we rented a lot from Blockbuster that I never owned, but we loved that. We rented it more from Blockbuster than we did Snap. I'll say that, because we did get more into that element of trying to get to the levels. I will commend you. We never made it to Mewtwo. We never got that far, but again, that challenge, it's like you said, this is before you had, and even with that, that's not something you can just do a walkthrough. That's just straight up strategy on the puzzle, because it's going to be different every time. So that's pretty awesome. Generation, I would say, actually probably would be Gold and Silver for me, the Johto region, Johto generation stuff. And yeah, favorite game would probably either be Pokemon Crystal, which was like the third version for Gold and Silver.
It had Suicune on it. No, it had Lugia. No,
was Suicune.
Was it Suicune? It had that weird little battery pack on it.
Yeah. It was like a weird blue kind of gel see-through looking type case on it, which was so cool. It was the first Pokemon where you could choose to be a boy or a girl. Oddly enough, like even in Gold and Silver you couldn't, but when Crystal came out, it was the first one to give you that option for your little sprite to be a boy or a girl, which was interesting. But yeah, I just really like that region. I like a lot of the towns and stuff there. And then as far as in non Game Boy games or like main storyline games, played a lot of Pokemon Stadium 2. Was a big Pokemon Stadium 2 person.
We played them for the similar reasons, though, because the mini games, which I can't remember them all, but the Lickitung one sticks out in my mind because you just had to eat all that food with it.
Oh yeah, I do have a question involving that, so we will come back to that. The other thing that I really loved about Pokemon Stadium 2 was if you had the adapter pack on the back, you could play your Game Boy game kind of on the big screen. This was before we had Switch or any kind of stuff like this, but you could put that pack on there, and it was still like the black and white, same kind of graphics, but you could play it on the big screen through the Nintendo 64 controller. And I remember we used to do that a lot, and that was also how you would get the mystery gift when they started doing mystery gift on like every Sunday. You had to log on there and have your pack plugged in and talk to this random girl on there, the like little NPC girl, and she's like, transferring mystery gift, and you get like berries or potions or Pokeballs. Like it's always something random.
Which is interesting you said that, because even back then, the 64 had no internet capability.
Yeah, so to be able to
Stadium 2 on GameCube. I don't remember that the GameCube had internet connectivity.
I don't think it did either.
How did I play these systems so much and never know? Probably because I didn't have a reason for it.
I think GameCube. I don't even know about that. I think maybe
GameCube had an adapter,
a link cable or adapter. Yeah.
That makes my head hurt. Maybe that's for
All right, question number 3. Your favorite Pokemon movie?
Pokemon 2000. Mainly due because I love Lugia. He's my favorite legendary bird, even to this day, with them redoing the original birds. And Lugia's song, like, I'll sit and listen to that to this day. I'll put on like a 6-hour remix while I'm editing videos or just streaming, and I'll just listen to it. One of my favorite things. It's got such a great story. And it finally makes Misty realize that she don't want Ash with another woman. That's the word. There we go.
Ironically, I also put Pokemon 2000. This one was the first one that I really, by the time this one came out, I guess I was old enough to really get excited for a movie, and I was more into the series and more hyped about it. And I remember they really hyped it up. I remember the previews and the merchandising and like the Burger King toys. I think Burger King did the toys for this one.
It was the first movie they did. Burger King did the little gold cards, I believe.
Gold cards, but I think they did some more with Pokemon 2000.
I think they did. Did they do plushies for it? Or was it more of them little golden cards that came in them Pokeballs?
At one point, I don't remember if it's Burger King or McDonald's. I don't know if it was for 2000 or one of the other movies. They had like these weird plastic Game Boys, but on the front of them, it wasn't like an actual Game Boy, but it was shaped like a Game Boy, and on the front would have like a different Pokemon. And I think if you clicked a button, it would make like the sound, like the call or whatever, be like, or, whatever the sprite noise was. And I remember those, and it would like light up and stuff. And that was at one of the restaurants. Don't remember when, but no, 2000 had a killer soundtrack. It upped the ante from everything. Their advertising for that movie was great, and so it was one of the first ones I remember getting really excited and really nostalgic for. So yeah, 2000 was also my answer on that one.
Well, just a little sidetrack back to the favorite game. Did you ever play Hey You Pikachu? Did you ever get to play that? I didn't either. When I used to visit my grandmother in Ohio, there was it was pretty much GameStop before GameStop was a thing. It was like one of them kind of stores, and they had the Hey You Pikachu box, like the actual setup for it. And I begged for it and begged for it and begged for it and never got it. It's one game to this day that eluded me that I wanted to play more than anything and never got to.
Yeah.
That was the first voice recognition Pokemon game.
And it came with the special N64, one of the special edition N64s. It was like blue and yellow.
Yep. Had lightning bolts on it, I believe.
Yeah. Dude, I remember that. I did want that one. Favorite Pokeball to catch Pokemon with?
I'm partial to the color blue, so say a netball. Netball, maybe a dive ball, depending. I actually like I watch the YouTuber A-Drive, and he does this thing where he tries to put whatever Pokemon, like its look, would match that ball. And I kind of have always done that, but that just solidified me like, okay, that's not a weird thing to do. Other people do that.
Yeah. That's fair. I agree partially on netball, just because in the actual game, for practicality's sake, I prefer netball because its specialty is for Pokemon that are in the water, bugs, or Pokemon in caves. So it gives you such a wide range of practicality and use. The other one that I actually really wrote down and said was Safari Ball.
I do like the Safari Ball. It looks all camoed out.
Yeah, and when we were kids in the original Pokemon, it just reminds me of when you went to Safari Zone, you had to give over all of your regular Pokeballs, and they would give you the Safari Ball. You only got like 20 of them, and they would hand it to you, and you was only able to catch Pokemon in Safari Zone with Safari Balls. So like the exclusivity of it made me kind of really partial to those because I was like, well, these got to be good if you can only use them specifically here and for this.
That's the funny
So
thing
I'm
about the new Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee games. It's like always being in the Safari Zone, and the fact that you don't ever battle a Pokemon, you just sit there and throw Pokeballs at them.
it's like
But
Pokemon Go on the system.
I didn't stay in the Safari very long when I played on Pokemon Blue, but there was rumors you could get the other starters in there, but I don't know that that's true.
I don't either. I mean, I played in the Safari Zone, but I never seen any other starters. I mainly caught Tauros. This is the only thing I've seen in there.
Tauros and Scyther, it's the only things I ever seen in there. Yep. Pincers.
Same.
Seen a lot of Pincers.
And occasionally a Lapras if you was like surfing. But that was a rarer one. So next question, I think you kind of touched on this earlier, but favorite legendary.
Favorite legendary bird would be Lugia. Favorite legendary dog would be, I won't say Suicune. I like Entei, but Suicune's probably, and it's so sad that Raikou isn't brought in more. But I mean, he's cool, but I like Suicune a lot. Favorite Reggie would be Reggie Ice because I love Ice.
What about the Reggies?
And I think I would rather deal with Mew than I would Mewtwo. Because Mewtwo's... he in the movies, he was painted as evil. In the manga, I guess, he was more of a wild type, supposedly. I don't know. I didn't read the manga.
I didn't either. Not much. I read a couple of issues, the first ones. But yeah, I don't blame you there. Yeah, ironically enough, again, we're pretty much on the same, very similar wavelength to that. Suicune. I'm usually a big fire type, and I do like Entei, but because of Crystal version and because of the movie Pokemon Forever, which was the fourth one that came out with Celebi and Suicune, there was just such a mystery and kind of like mythique and mythos around Suicune that really drew me to it. It's just the more mysterious and regal kind of feeling Pokemon. And then my other legendary that I'm a big fan of is Ho-Oh. Ironically, again, opposite to your Lugia thing, because it is this fire phoenix type bird type Pokemon. Also, I like the fact that it's the first Pokemon, mythical Pokemon that Ash sees in the series, in the cartoon when you watch it. And at that time, again, when we watched that as kids, Ho-Oh wasn't even in the Pokédex. It wasn't even, to us, we knew nothing about Johto. We didn't know there was going to be another Pokemon game or Pokemon series. For us, Gen 1 was it. So when he sees this magical rainbow bird up in the sky in the first episode, and then you never hear or see anything about it again, we as kids was just kind of like, okay, well, that's got to be like a mythic. There's got to be something going on with that. And then when they came out with Johto and it was actually part of it, everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's the one. Which I think is very fun. It's a fun way that they did that.
There's two popular things, and I don't know if they've ever been verified or said to be true, but Ho-Oh apparently is the reason Ash has not aged until his Pokemon journey is over. He will always stay a 10-year-old boy because, I mean, he's been 10 since I was 8.
Yeah.
And that was 22 years ago. And you remember in Pokemon Silver, Gold, and Crystal, the tower that burnt down? Supposedly, the 3 legendary dogs that came out of it were actually evolutions that got burned up in the tower. That was a popular theory, and I seem to remember them. I know 3 Pokemon perished, but they're saying Ho-Oh brought them back as these 3 legendary dogs, which would be interesting.
Yeah, that's a very fun theory.
I like theories. I mean, they don't necessarily have to be true, but it sounds, I mean, that would be awesome, in my opinion.
And that's the beautiful thing about Pokemon. There's so many. We could do a whole episode in the future on just theories and myths. Next question. Moving right along here. If you could live in any Poke Town, which one would you choose?
See, that's a hard one because I never paid attention to the towns. I was more worried about being out in the wilderness catching because
That's fair.
I'm a collector, and that's why I don't do anything that can be collected hardly because I would spend every ounce of money collecting.
Fair.
Lavender Town would be one of them because I really enjoy ghost types, and that's where most of them were in the first game. I like water. Cinnabar Island, maybe.
Ooh, nice.
I like it because I like Blaine. He's a really cool gym leader, I think.
Yeah.
It's where the Pokemon Research Labs were before Mewtwo blew it up.
True.
And I don't know, the Cinnabar Island area just seems like it would be a nice mix between, because I believe there was a cave system, there's ghost types.
Yeah.
It was just a really fun little spot to be. It's memorable, to say the least.
True. Yeah, it's different. It's a standout for sure.
I also believe that might be where you first start getting Ultra Balls. Don't quote me on that because I could be terribly wrong, but that's like Gym 6 or 7. Maybe, I know it ain't 8. Giovanni's 8, but
7, yeah.
it's 7, I believe.
Giovanni, yeah. Not wrong. I wrote down, again, it's going to be a stretch for some people maybe. It's Olivine City. I think it's how I'm pronouncing it, Olivine City. It's in Johto. In the gold and silver ones, it's actually the town with the lighthouse. It's a little port town. It's got like the docks and boats and stuff, and it has a lighthouse in it. There's a whole in the game. You have to go get medicine. The Ampharos that locks the lighthouse is sick. You got to get medicine and bring it back. But in real life, I've always wanted. We've lived kind of down south country.
If you can't tell
up.
by our
whatever
the word accents, there we go.
But I've always wanted, and me and my wife have always talked about, I've always wanted to live in like a port town, kind of like in like Maine or like one of these kind of small community port towns with a nice lighthouse and stuff. And so I just love that kind of vibe. And Olivine City has it. It has the lighthouse, has the ports. It's not far from like where the burned towers and stuff are, so it's kind of cool for historical purposes. So that's the one I went with. Let's try to get a few more good questions in. I'll try to pick a few more. We got time for a couple more.
Let's skip 7. That's
well,
I'm pretty sure we're gonna agree with that. Fire type and water type for a gym leader.
Yeah, that's basically stuff we've talked about.
Well, let's go with that next one. Who would be your dream Pokemon to travel?
To travel beside you. So if you
that
could have
didn't
a Pokemon
that does not
life,
go in the Pokeball. Does like a Pikachu does.
Stays with you.
Yeah. Mine would be. Well, you can't have a ghost type out like not Gengar, Haunter, or Ghastly in the sunlight because they just go invisible. I'd go Squirtle. I would, because he's just cute.
Okay, so so mine, what I think is we will make this our last question. So let's make this one to count. And I gotta be honest, I think, and it's gonna sound kind of crazy, I would say probably Arcanine.
Arcanine's a good one, yeah. I actually have a shiny Growlithe on my latest playthrough of Let's Go.
Ooh, nice.
It took me like 9 hours to get it. And if you play Let's Go, you just sit there and they just spawn in and out. But I mean, it's the shiny Growlithe looks amazing, and then shiny Arcanine's just like on top of it. All right. In closing of the questions, though, there's one more on here. You said that was the last one, but I do want to know which is your favorite song.
Okay.
That's very important to me because I love music. It's very important.
Too. So my favorite Pokemon song, it is a bit of a toss-up. So my favorite intro, like again, and it's a recurring theme with me, but was the Johto. I love the Pokemon Johto theme. That was my favorite for like the series intro. Favorite non-intro music is probably Viridian City, The Road to Viridian City, because it's the one that gets stuck in my head every day. Every day it gets stuck in my head. I don't know how, but it finds its way in there, and I'll be on the way to work or on the way home to work, and I'll just start going, I'm on the road, and I just roll with it. It's so catchy. What about you? What you got?
Movie song, the first season 1 Pokemon theme when they did it in the movie.
Ooh, nice.
It was the best ever. But I really liked the Born to Be a Winner season 4 song, because what I did when I was younger, my grandma always kept Pokemon movies for me and my brother, my cousins. So she would buy like the little VHS tapes, and we would watch them, and we'd hang out. We'd talk about Pokemon cards. We'd mail them back and forth because we lived in different areas of the state, and we would trade that way because there was nothing else for us to do really, and I didn't get to be around much of my outside my immediately like sister, brother, mom, and dad. I didn't do much with the rest of the family. Yeah. That's how we kept in contact, was through Pokemon, pretty much.
Gotcha.
But what I would do is I would just sit and listen to these songs, and now I could literally listen to any of them, all the way down to, let's see. No, I think Unbeatable might be one of them. I don't remember. Actually, I think that's one of the newer ones. So season 4, I definitely know it and down, and I like all the songs. They're just nostalgic to me, and they bring back a lot of personal memories that were amazing at the time, that there was no way I would have remembered them if it were not for having Pokemon in common about it.
Yeah, the nostalgia thing is super strong there, and I'm like you, most of them from that one and back. I remember my dad used to make us a lot of burnt CDs, me and my brother.
Oh, I remember those.
And he would there was one particular one where he put, like, we had almost every Pokemon. We had the original, we had Johto, we had Born to Be a Winner, we had So You Want to Be a Master of Pokemon, we had What Kind of Pokemon Are You, all of the good ones, Pikachu's jukebox songs, and then all the starter like intros, and it was just so good. We used to listen to that all the time. We'd put it in our little CD player, and man, yeah, the nostalgia, it's super strong right now. It's taking me down memory lane, but in good ways. It's because, and that's my biggest message that I will say about Pokemon in our wrap up here. Here's what I will say: is for me, that is the biggest thing. Is it is such a nostalgic thing. It's so many of my memories. Like I said, the first game that I got, was right after my first mom died, and we were living with my grandparents. They lived way out, and like on this back road where we had no neighbors, no real friends and stuff. We missed like the remaining of the school year because she died in December, and so it's just me and my little brother, and there was just like you had talked about, these things that we grew up with, and these things, that we talk about in these podcasts and going to be talking about in future podcasts and on this channel, are things that helped us mold us in our childhood because we didn't have a whole lot. And so these are the things that kind of became our friends. My first Pokemon partners, when I was a kid, I got real attached to Pokemon. It was just like the shows when one of them fainted or passed away, or if a save file messed up, I took it hard. I got serious, man. I was hurt by it. I was upset because they became my friends. It became a world for me to escape to. When anything started bothering me in the real world, you could just. And the beautiful thing is with Pokemon is it's so generational through middle school, high school, graduated, even now with like Sword and Shield and these new ones coming out. It's fun to just put it into the Switch and forget about everything for a little bit, and you're in that world. You're so good at immersing. And the beautiful thing of that, it's not stopping. We are pregnant with our first child right now, and I cannot wait to get them into and have these experiences and find out their favorite Pokemons or their favorite legendaries and stuff. And that to me is the whole thing. Is it's so generational, and it's such a nostalgia machine that is still going and creating new memories and nostalgia for people and generations even now.
You're very much right, because I took my nephew to Walmart and I took him over. They had plushies of Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, and I picked him up. He's 5 or 6. He's 5 now, so he would have been 3 or 4. I picked him up and I said, "Which one do you want?" And he picked out Charmander. And then he seen a Squirtle over here. It was sitting over next to my TV. And he said, "Uncle Batman, can I have this?" And I was like, "Yeah, bud, you can have it. Take it home with you."
exactly.
And
I mean, how do
so
you say no?
now I just gotta give him a Bulbasaur, and he's got the Gen 1 starters right in his back pocket.
Exactly. And it's 20 almost 30 years age difference and generation difference. Things are so different. It's funny how things are so different, but some things are still the same. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of nerd culture, pop culture, whatever you want to call it. And that's what we're here to talk about. That's why we're here to discuss this and find people out there. So uh I would say this, be sure, you guys let us know. Comment, get up with us on here, leave comments below, answer some of these questions for yourself. Let us know your favorite Pokemons, your generations, any of your memories and nostalgia with it. Because again, as much as I love going down that nostalgia trip, I love hearing your story and I want to hear everybody else's stories. I think it's awesome because that's how we come together as a community. It's a unification through something. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that so many people can be united in it. So yeah, any final thoughts on Pokemon or this episode?
Just anybody that like, I don't look like I like Pokemon. I mean, I don't. When I go to work, I look like a freaking lumberjack. I wear button-up shirts. I don't look like I'd be a nerd. Other than me sitting and talk about how I stream, play video games all the time, you would think I stay in a sawmill. I've worked there in a sawmill before, and it was one of the hardest things I've done in my life. It helped shape me. I love working with my dad. I miss him a heck of a lot, but it helped me grow to start accepting and talking out that, yeah, I'm this big, like, I'm a big burly man. I don't look like much. I'm behind the camera, but I got some heft to me. I'm not gonna toot my own horn too much, but I don't look like I belong in a nerd anything. And when I started saying that I love Pokemon at the age of 25, people were like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Nothing's wrong with me. It's something I enjoy and I'm passionate about." And it's not just Pokemon. I've played World of Warcraft for the last 13 years. Don't hide who you are. That's what I'll say. Don't hide what you enjoy because you're afraid somebody else is going to think you're lame. Or there's nothing lame about doing what you enjoy at all.
That's right. I agree. It's important. I remember when I was real little, I had to be 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, however old I was. Um, and I remember one of my cousins. It was with Pokemon. It was when I was real big into Pokemon and DBZ. And I remember we was going on vacation, family vacation, and one of my cousins looked at me because I was talking about Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. I was talking about nerdy stuff, and he's probably 3 or 4 years older than me, and he turned around in the seat in front of me. We was in a van, and he said, "Dude," he said, "you talk about all this stuff." He said, "You'll grow out of that one day. You're gonna grow. You'll grow out of that. That's just because you're a kid. You'll grow out of Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z." And I looked him straight in the face. I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "Nope." I said, "I ain't going to do it." I said, "Even when I'm older, even when I'm an adult, I'll still love these things." And I'll be 30 in June, and I cannot wait for Pokemon Snap. I cannot
Yeah, I
wait for
mean,
Legends Arceus. I ain't grown out of it yet, so and I don't plan on it, like I said.
enjoy
So
what you enjoy. Don't be ashamed of it. If it's something that hurts you, then yeah, don't do it. But
yeah. Don't.
I
But
mean, we're nerds. His wife is a horror freak. Like, you're gonna eventually you'll meet her, and
you
all
see
that stuff in his background is
That's
stuff that's
her.
attributed to her. She's an amazing, like, she does a lot of stuff for us behind the scenes on these questions. And
She helped us a lot with this episode and getting some of the
this
names
is
and
our
stuff.
pilot episode for this, and I can't shout out enough to her. But
Agreed.
we want a place where, like he said, his community, because he does have a book that's out, and we'll talk about that in just a second, for touch on it just for a minute. I have a Twitch channel, and our alternate YouTube channel is under my personal one, which we will be moving all that to this new channel. We'll be putting all our series on it, but just get with us if you ever need somebody to talk to. We've been through a lot of crap in our lives.
Yeah, we've lived it. We've done it. We've been there. We've seen a thing or two because whatever that farmer's. I'm not going to quote it because I don't want to face that lawsuit. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does help set us up for the next thing. So on our alternate channels, which will be merging and can kind of get you some links down below. Hopefully, surely we can work that out in upload when we upload this. We do have some game videos that we've been doing, playing a lot of Phasmophobia. And I think we actually got episode 5 of our Ghost Crashers series coming out soon.
Episode 5 is officially done. I just have to add a edit or an ending title screen, and it will be completely finished, and then it'll be uploaded for your viewing pleasure or horror, whichever one you want to look at us as.
There you go, people. Right there it is. You know, straight from the camel's mouth. Humpity hump.
We're so messed up in the head.
So we also we have several other Ghost Crashers or Phasmophobia videos, and then Sea of Thieves videos. We have some of those on there with Captain Maplebeard and the Beardos. We'll be doing some more game videos, some more podcast videos coming soon. We got plans for, we're going to do one to touch on going from pocket monsters to giant monsters to get ready for the Kong versus Godzilla.
Super excited about that.
Team Godzilla all the way. Just throw that
I
out
don't
there.
know why you
guys.
coughed it. You know I like Godzilla more than I do Kong. Old monkey butt's going to get thrown around a little bit.
I don't want to offend any viewers that are Team Kong. Which you just did. You just straight up shut it down. No remorse.
Remember that thing where I had a heart?
Yeah, so that'll be coming up soon. We're going to do some quiz videos. We're actually going to try to get some later this week. Some Pokemon quizzes. We're going to try to take some quizzes and see what results we get. Some fun ones. Yeah, so we got some more videos in the works. Eventually in the future, maybe do some taste tests or some travel vlogs.
Definitely want to do some stuff with some food. Because obviously we both like food. Look at us.
You know. I will say I do want to go ahead and plug anyone who reads or listens or whatever you want. I have just published my first book under my pen name. I've been writing since I was a kid, and I do want to go ahead and leave a plug here. I'll try not to overwhelm you guys with plugs, but I am going to shameless plug every once in a while because, if not, how are you guys going to know about it? And now you're going to know. So,
and you talking about books, before you throw this up, never mind, you threw it up there. Whatever. Me and James here, or Jamex, or Leemus, or whatever he wants to go by these days.
Yeah.
Lee Zephyr as his pen handle.
Pen name. Levi Leather. There's just too many to count.
Levi Leather is an entity. He is not a name. He is an entity.
He's a force of nature.
Levi Leather takes over this man and becomes something that I detest, to say the least. Yeah, but we have, I don't think he realizes it, but we actually have the start of our own book that we're going to work on together.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty decent at fight scenes. He's good at the other stuff. So we're going to try and do our own medieval tales of tale, which leads into his, what's it called? Yeah. Not to insult you, I don't memorize your book names. The Princess and the Squire, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. The Princess and the Squire, Phoenix Main Saga, Book 1. So lovely cover. Work buddy of mine, Sean Green, who also published his book. So you can check out his books, anything by Sean Green on Amazon. His is called the Evoborn series. I think called the Evoborn series or saga. I'll show you that in another video. I'll plug his books. But right now we're shameless plugging me. So sorry, Sean. But we're plugging Sean's cover. So he's got a good cover he did design for me. But it's my book. So let's focus on that right now. By Lee Zephyr. It's a cool breezy read. It's I should know how many pages it is, but I don't. It's a cool 184 pages. Not real long, 20 chapters. And then in about the author page, when you already know everything you need to know after watching this video. It's available on Amazon in paperback, ebook, and it is now officially available in audiobook, which it's also available on Audible in the audiobook form. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can actually read it for free. You don't have to pay anything. The ebook is, I believe, $2.99 or $3.99. The paperback is $9.99, and the audiobook when I looked on Audible, I didn't get to set the price for that one. It was like automatic through the site I did it through, so it was like $14.99, somewhere around there. So, but yeah, I got a guy, Sean Goodman Jones, did the narration for the audiobook. He was fantastic, sounds great. Like I said, that just went live 3 days ago. Went live on March 4th. So definitely be sure to check it out in any format. Leave me a rating and review on Amazon or Goodreads or Audible would be much helpful and appreciated. I've got many other works. Like I said, we've got one in process. I've got the detective series that I'm working on, a ghost hunting series that I'm working on.
The one I'll talk about for sure is he has one called Story of a Hero. I almost said City of Heroes. That's an amazing game that got shut down, which I'm very sad about.
Yeah, MMORPG.
But Story of a Hero is one that I'm doing some of the editing for, like helping him with certain parts of it. And we wrote it. You mainly wrote it, but I helped when we were young. Yeah. We were like 12.
Yeah, it's been my passion project.
It's a very great book for anybody. It's more akin to like a Dragon Ball Z medieval type thing, but
yeah,
it's going to be really fun to release. I think
it is. It's going to be great. So again, a lot of those to keep an eye out on. So again, get in contact with me through Lee Zephyr Books. Like I said, I've got a Facebook page for Lee Zephyr Books. I've got a website for it. You can check out any of that. We'll try to throw up some links later or down in the description below. And while we're on news of that, be sure to like, comment, subscribe on this video. Again, get up with us about Pokemon, your childhood memories, nostalgia, some questions for the next one. Like I said, the next podcast is going to be about giant monster movies. Throw some questions.
Tell us what you might want to see in the future. Doesn't have to be about whatever topic we want. We're here. Exactly. We can talk about just about anything. Especially unless it's sporty stuff. I can't do sports. I don't know the first thing about sports.
So exactly. So other than that, anything pop culture, nerdy, geeky, anything nostalgia, just throw it down below. Get up with us. Just let us know if you like my beard or if you don't like my beard. If you
I don't get
like
to answer that question.
Don't tell me. Yeah, just be gentle. Just be like your face would look really good without all that hair on it. That's a nice way of putting it.
Or if you would rather him wear a paper bag or me wear a paper bag. Probably won't happen, but we can handle it.
We can Chester McBadbat this whole series. That's a real deep cut for people.
We're really old.
We are really old. We've established that. So speaking of being really old, we'll see you guys next time. So yeah, this has been fun. It's been a great show, and thanks for joining us. Been Leemus. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Leemus1 and at DigitalDachi. Shoot us any questions or anything on there. Go for it. I would love some fan interaction. It'd be great.
He craves it, actually. It's really sad. Yeah. He watches his monitor. His eyes just kind of search the screen.
I sit here like
help me by helping him.
Looking out a window at the rain, So
his eyes are just scanning the window. Yeah. For some reason, I'd see you with your eyes just stuck against a flat piece of something. I don't know.
This is a face I make. But yeah, we're going to call it there. And thank you guys so much. And be sure to join us next time. See you guys in the next one.